Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Shoemaker and I just want to make this video to welcome you and introduce you to Chem 100, Chemistry for Life Sciences. So I will be the instructor, and with any class that you are taking, the first thing to do really to get yourself prepared is to visit the Brightspace course page, get yourself acquainted with it, and read the syllabus. So this class, Chem 100, is it's a synchronous online class. So we do have meeting times every week, every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2:20 p.m. is when the class is scheduled, but we will meet on Zoom, and the Zoom link will be available to you in Brightspace, and I'll show you where. So if you were not anticipating that, if you thought this was a fully online class, asynchronous, where you could do work at whatever time you wanted, that's not quite the case. So it is basically like an in-person class, except that we are not physically in a classroom, we are in a virtual classroom. So, sorry, let me close my emails there. Oopsie. Back to D2L. Okay. So I do teach on the Saranac Lake campus, and I have an office on the Saranac Lake campus, so you're welcome to pop in, introduce yourselves in person anytime that I'm around. My office hours are listed here. I also have Zoom office hours, basically after class. I should say 2:30 to 3:30. I'll fix that. Every Tuesday and Thursday. There is a textbook for the class. This is the textbook, General Organic and Biological Chemistry by Frost and Deal. The college bookstore and the publishers make me adopt the most recent edition, so this is the 4th edition. But I am also okay if you want to use the 3rd edition, if you want to purchase that for a cheaper price used. They're basically the same exact content, they just update the pictures a little bit. So that can be a good cost saving effect, but I definitely recommend getting the textbook. The lectures, I do my best to really teach everything from the textbook in a condensed version in my lectures, but it's really helpful to do the reading to supplement the lectures. Also, there's practice problems in the textbook, and some of the test questions come directly from those textbook problems, so it behooves you to have the textbook and practice with it and learn from it. But the graded homework will all be done at a website called Active Learning, and this is an extra cost. I think it costs $42 a semester, and you'll register for that directly and pay for it directly online. There is a free 2-week trial, so if you're unsure whether you want to stick with this class or you don't have the money yet to pay for that access, no problem. You can still get registered right away and get started using the free trial access. This class does contain a lab component. You may be wondering how that's going to work in an online environment. Basically, my idea is to have you guys find and do basic chemistry experiments on your own with like household products, everyday kind of items. Some labs, though, there will be flexibility, like you can choose what items you want to use or that you are finding for the lab. Others will require you to use certain materials, and those are listed here. So the 2 things that you will need to purchase if you don't already have for some reason is a small digital scale and a set of plastic graduated cylinders, both of which can be bought on Amazon for less than $10 each. And if you can't get any of these supplies, if you don't have access to funds or anything like that, just reach out to me, and I have supplies that I can send you that you can borrow for the semester. So don't let that stop you from participating. The labs are the fun part, and it's where the learning happens, and it's where you're going to actually feel like a chemist, like a scientist. So it's a worthwhile investment, and you may use the digital scale for, I don't know, recipes, kitchen stuff. It can be fun stuff to have, and if you have kids. So it's a small investment, but if you can't make it, just let me know, and I can certainly hook you up. This is an online class, so you want to make sure that you have access to regular internet and a working computer. I'll skip through the course description. You can read that on your own. all the different topics in chemistry that we're going to be going over this semester. I have some things in here about internet access and good proper email etiquette. It's important for us to communicate on a professional level. So just some reminders about that. And information about college policies like our accommodations and tutoring. So if you do have academic accommodations like a 504 plan, please let me know immediately so that we can set up those accommodations for you. But also, if you don't have accommodations, know that we have a very active Learning Assistance Center where we have tutoring services, both in person and online, and they're covered by your student fees, so make use of them. And that's for any class, not just this one. Okay, the meat of the syllabus. This is what I always flip to first when I have a course syllabus as a student myself. I want to know how I'm being graded in the class. So here is the standard grading scale the college uses, and this is the grading breakdown for the class. So majority, about half of your grade, a little more than half of your grade, comes from exams, from 4 unit tests and a final exam. Is 55% of your total grade. 20% of your grade will be from these labs. So the labs are going to be, I'm kind of designing them as I go. They're basically, I'm thinking of them as activities. Most of them will be qualitative. So things like, do a scavenger hunt and find 5 different chemicals in your house and tell me about them. Some of them will be experiments, basic experiments. We'll do an osmosis experiment with potatoes, cutting up little pieces of potatoes and soaking them in different fluids to see how their weight changes. So sometimes it might be a video, like a TED Talk that I ask you to watch and then reflect on. So it's going to be, there will be a variety of sort of like lab activities. They will not have formal like lab reports that you have to type up. So what you're turning in will be fairly basic. So there will probably be, what I have set up is 2 due dates a week for lab activities. So they'll be short, but they will be frequent. There will be lots of them. Because again, that's the fun part. I'm going to try to keep it fun. The active homework. These are homework exercises, online homework exercises that you'll complete via this website, Active. And the nice thing about the online homework, when you do homework online, is you can, it tells you right away whether your answer is right or wrong, and it gives you feedback. So it really helps you learn. Since these are available online, you also have access to Google, AI, things to help you, and I can't monitor that. And so it's really kind of an honor system with the homework. Just remember the purpose of the homework is to help you practice and learn the material. So if you are looking up all the answers and just inputting them, you're not going to be actually learning. You're not going to actually retain any of that information, and you're not going to do well on the tests. So really try to use the homework as a learning exercise to work your brain. And I will do that in a sort of just-in-time fashion. So after lecture, I will make the homework assignment live, and it'll be basically practice problems for you to do before the next class period is how it will work. So we do every Monday and Wednesday night because we have class every Tuesday and Thursday. I also, because a lot of learning happens in the class when I'm doing the explaining, I put a lot of effort into my lectures and trying to make chemistry really digestible and easy to understand. And so it's really important that you attend the Zoom lectures. I also want to make them very interactive. I'm going to have practice problems. I'm going to ask you questions. We'll do some quizzes. Like pop quizzes, not for credit, but just for review kind of material. So a lot of learning is going to actually happen there. So it's important that you attend and participate actively in our Zoom classes. So reminders about when those are as well. I'll tell you more about the tests as we go, the test format as we go on, but just know they will be taken in Brightspace, but they will be taken while you are on Zoom. So they will be live proctored. So during a Zoom class period, on a test day, you will end up logging into Zoom, and then I will like watch you all take your test. Just to help keep you honest and to keep it synchronized. So if there's any technical problems, I'm here, it's live, and we can deal with it. The rest of the syllabus goes through sort of formal policies, academic integrity policy, use of ChatGPT and stuff on tests is obviously not allowed. So like I said, you can use it on the homework, but again, use it to help you learn, not to just feed you answers. So when we'll talk over the semester about useful ways to use things like ChatGPT and AI to help augment learning versus ways that really handicap our thinking. Title IX statement. So this is even in an online environment, sexual harassment or discrimination can occur. So please let me know if I do anything, if classmates do anything. I want to keep this a safe environment. But also if you need to report anonymously anything that's happening in any of your classes, you can report to our Title IX coordinator. My diversity and inclusion statement kind of goes along with that. And then the instructor's academic right is basically a statement that says, I am the boss and I can change anything in here at any time as I see fit. I really don't tend to make any significant adjustments to my syllabus, though. I like to use it as a guide. It's almost a contract, if you will, as to how the semester will go. The second most important part after the grading, I would say, is the course calendar or schedule. So this is the tentative schedule of pacing us through the class. All right, the test dates are solid. All right, those you can count on those being the dates that we will take tests in this class. So make sure that you clear your schedule of appointments. If something comes up last minute, or if you are like really ill and just cannot, work on that day, let me know. Communicate with me. Communication is key. Just keep me posted if you can't make things, and I will set a time for you to do a makeup. The schedule here also is a guide for how you should keep up with the reading in the class. So I don't grade your readings, there's nothing to turn in, but I do expect you to be reading along with the course material. So this just shows you what order we're going in, and we're going pretty much in order of the chapters. The one thing that I flip at the end is chapters 11 and 12. I think 12 comes better before 11. All right. I also intend to email you every week a week at a glance that looks something like this. And I also have the Brightspace kind of set up this way as well. Just to let you know what is due each week. So remember, every Tuesday, Thursday, we have a lecture, and every Monday, Wednesday, you will have a short homework assignment and a short lab activity that are due. And so on those other days of the week, I also expect you to be doing chemistry outside of the class. Reading the textbook, working on those homework problems, attending Zoom office hours if you need to, etc. So that is the syllabus. The Brightspace page here on the left, you can start, you'll want to start here, you want to log in, make sure you have access to Brightspace because you'll access all of the links to Zoom and Active. All right. In the welcome section, the start here, you can read a little bit about me in the meet your professor section. This is the instructions for registering for that online homework software. This is the list of basic lab supplies that you should have handy. a periodic table that you can print that's colored and a good one to use. I mean, you can use any period. There's lots of periodic tables out there, but this one I like for this level of the course. Some periodic tables have too much information or too little information. And then here's the syllabus where you can print it so that you can keep it handy, particularly that course calendar and the grading stuff. And then most everything else is in this course content area. So if you click on the course content tab, I have this sort of general week at a glance schedule, and it's hyperlinked. So on Mondays, you can click here to go to the active homework website. You can click here to go directly to the Zoom link for the Zoom class. I also have the link for the Zoom class right here. Other things that you will find on the Brightspace page, I have this page here that has a list of chapter vocabulary by chapter. So one of the most important things in any class is to familiarize yourself with the vocabulary. Chemistry is another language. There's a lot of terminology to know in addition to just understanding the concepts. So I have here a list of important vocabulary from each chapter, as well as a little video of me explaining and defining that vocabulary for you. So I'm even saving you the time of having to look it up and learn it yourself. And this can be a really great way to prime yourself for lectures. I also will be doing some vocabulary quizzes in the lectures. These won't be for credit for your grade. They'll part of your attendance and participation grade. But really they're formative assessments. So they are a way for me to kind of see who's keeping up, who's lost, what vocab terms people are stuck on. So it's a way for me to kind of get feedback and see where you guys check in, see where you guys are at. So it's important for you to help pace yourself through the class. Okay, how do we get weekly agenda? Alrighty, so we've got those chapter vocabularies. We have here, I will try to remember, and please feel free to remind me to record our class sessions, our Zoom sessions, and I will post them here, the links to those recordings, so that you can rewatch them if you need, or if you have to miss a class for something, you can watch it here. So those will be available. And then this is the link to the active homework website where you'll be doing your homework. I will have, the lab section is blank right now, but you will see assignments here each week for each lab assignment. You'll click on it and you will do what you're instructed to do. Sometimes it'll be posting a picture of, some chemicals I asked you to collect and maybe a blurb about them, or some chemical models I ask you to build, or it might be watching a TED Talk and doing a reflection on that. So they will vary, but they'll all be posted here. And then there was also a tab for tests. They're obviously not available yet, but some, if you want to get the instructions for how these proctor tests will be done, that's posted here. And I also have chapter outlines for you to use as like study guides, as well as study questions to prepare for the tests. I have extra resources, so a bit about the Learning Assistance Center on our campuses, helpful YouTube videos. These are a collection that I have found over the years. Actually, they're probably a little bit dated. There's probably newer ones available, so feel free. But if you're struggling with a concept, YouTube's a great resource for additional teaching tools. And so some of my favorite channels, you'll notice Crash Course, Tyler DeWitt, Khan Academy. For this class, I don't really use Professor Dave Explains. That's a little bit higher level. Fuse School is another good one, and there's probably other good ones. So if you find great review videos, send them my way and I'll add them to the list here. Let's move my face, go back. And the last thing under, extra resources is this link here. So Star New York, if you are not familiar with Star New York Online Tutoring, it's a virtual tutoring consortium. They have live one-on-one tutors in all subject areas, many subject areas, every Sunday through Thursday from 7 p.m. to midnight. All you do is click on this link, it takes you here and you can request a tutor. You'll note that They don't start up until the 25th, January 25th. And if you request a tutor and you go in, if it's not 7 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, you won't be able to access it. So it's only live during those times. I happen to be the biology and chemistry tutor on Thursday nights. So you can, it's sort of like extended office hours for me if you want to think about it that way. It's another way to get time with me, or if you have, want a different tutor, so a different person to tutor you in these subjects, go on a different night. So that's the class basically. That's my basic setup here. I am trying to learn how to use the calendar. So if you are, let's see, at the course home, I did put in the Zoom lectures in the calendar. That way I think Brightspace will send you like an automatic reminder so that you don't forget. Also, cell phones have alarms that you can set. That's what I do. Whatever it takes to keep you organized so that you know what you're supposed to be doing. I would not necessarily trust Brightspace to tell you. So make sure that you print this out, this page, so that you know what's due when. I try to keep it very regular. Every Monday, Wednesday, there will be a homework and a lab assignment, and every Tuesday, Thursday, there is a Zoom class. And that is to help you stay on top of the material so that I can chunk it up, have small due dates spaced regularly throughout the class rather than like a whole bunch that's due one day of the week. That can be kind of overwhelming and make it hard to pace yourselves through the material. All right, I think I've talked enough. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.